The Bill and Kelly Show is recorded at Studio A at Executive Suite Squared in beautiful Hammond, Indiana. Now, here's Bill and Kelly. Hello, welcome to the Bill and Kelly Show. With us today we have Lieutenant Jason Praschak.
Good morning.
And Lieutenant Kevin VanKley.
Good morning.
Who are the members of the Porter County Emergency Response Team, or a lot of you may be familiar with the term SWAT Team. And we had kind of an interesting morning as we went out on a 3-mile run, and you could tell these guys...
We as in them.
Yeah, and you could tell by the way I look.
This is my running. I run
and
late.
these guys
and I run
not even breaking a sweat here, and here I am just about dying. And as you would guess, I was. They waited. They went out and had coffee till I got off the trail, and then we came back here. We're at the MAC facility, which is the training facility for District 1 for first responders, which is an awesome facility here in Valparaiso. So welcome to our show.
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you for putting me through all the grief this morning. You did well.
You chose it.
Yeah, we're happy to have you on.
And Jason is an excellent leader. He always came back and checked the slowest guys, which he came and checked on me quite often. So, and thank you for that.
No problem. Liability.
So, well, we're so honored to be here. We're thankful that you invited us out to this beautiful training facility that you guys have available to you. So, talk to us a bit about, first of all, about yourselves, how long you've been with the Sheriff's Department, and when you came on board with the ERT.
Okay.
So, Jason, why don't we start with you?
All right. Well, I'm Jason Praschak with the Porter County Sheriff's Department. Been there as a patrol officer for about 15 years now, just past 15 years. I have a wife who's an ER nurse, and I have a 10-year-old son. On the Sheriff's Department, I've tried to be a part of just about everything. I have like ADD. I have to always be doing something. So I've been part of our FTO coordinator position or FTO training. I have a I'm a canine handler. I was on honor guard, bike patrol. I'm a defensive tactics instructor, use of force instructor. I've been on the SWAT team since 2008.
Wow.
And over the years, I've progressed through different positions. I was the guy who would always carry the shield up to the house. Then I turned into the guy who used our DEF tech or less lethal devices. I became an instructor in that. And then I became an assistant team leader and a team leader, and currently the SWAT or ERT commander of the team for the last 2 years. And it's been a long journey, but fun.
Yeah.
And did you grow up in the area?
I did grow up in the area.
Okay.
I grew up in Northwest Indiana. I moved from Portage, Hobart, Chesterton, all around, but I've always been in Northwest Indiana.
Okay.
Awesome. And Kevin?
Yes, Kevin VanKley. I've been with the Sheriff's Department, been on patrol for just over 14 years, a little behind Jason. Been on SWAT since about 2009, so going on 10, 11 years at this point with the SWAT team. Wife and 2 kids, they're 11 and 8, and they're a big part of our lives, and a lot of our SWAT guys are family guys, and we definitely push that and are good with that, making that a big part of who we are. With the Sheriff's Department taking on a lot of roles, I got involved with firearms about the same time that I started with the SWAT team, so it's been nice to integrate being a firearms instructor with being on the SWAT team as well. And taking on roles with training and field training and those sorts of things, teaching has always been a big part of what we do, and it still is a big part of what we do with the SWAT team. As our commander and then myself, we take on a lot of roles of teaching our younger guys how to function on the team itself. So it's been fun, it's rewarding. We've had the privilege of working with a lot of guys that have gone before us that have I mean, they're still with us, but taught us what we know and brought us to where we're at, and we're hoping just to add more to the team and help it progress and get better, and to always be there for the county.
Yeah, definitely. And this is obviously with any ERT team, you guys have always got to be ready handle the difficult situations. And there hasn't been a whole lot in Porter County, and I think that's because of the story past of the SWAT team here, the ERT, because you guys have
Don't
had
wanna
some.
mess with you.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with the SWAT team. I've known quite a few of them, and believe me, they pull up some of the bad asses in the area. So why don't you talk to us about, first of all, what we went through this morning, which thank you again for putting me through that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for going.
Yeah, no, I kind of enjoyed it. I needed to, I'm in a struggle now to get back in shape where I was, and boy, it tells, boy, what I went through this morning, I got a lot further to go. But anyway, why don't you tell us about what type of training you guys go through, both physical training, situational training to get ready for difficult situations that you get into.
So we'll start off with like things this morning, the 3-mile run we like to do as a team, some type of workout. You know, it's my mindset, it's our team's mindset and motto that you have to be in shape to do such a job. When you're put in a stressful situation and you're expected to be able to perform under pressure, it helps that you're in some sort of shape, right? Controlling your blood pressure and your heart rate. We might have to have you carry a bunch of equipment for 200 yards or 300 yards. Then you're going to have to go through a door and move, and your heart rate goes up. And so we like to make sure to hold our guys accountable. And the only way we can do that is by going on these fun runs, is what we call them.
They're super fun.
Yeah, they're super fun runs.
Fun run.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah,
loves
that
them.
was
Everybody
real
has a
fun.
good time, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I want to show our audience I had a lot of fun
That's
out
a lot
on
of
the
fun.
trail.
So we go on these fun runs. If we go out to the range, we don't just stand still and shoot. We're moving and shooting. We're making guys do exercise and shooting. We're trying to get you as stress inoculated as possible so that you can control yourself. We don't want somebody on our team screaming, yelling, losing, panicking. Our goal is to try to make us as professional as possible. And really, that's, you mentioned, you guys don't hear about us a whole lot. We don't really go out and brag. We don't. This is probably the first time we've done anything public where people have seen the SWAT team. We don't do photos. We don't post them on our Facebook. We've had about 3 or 4 SWAT calls this year, but we just handle our job and we move on, right? We're not looking for that attention. We just want to do our job, do it well, and kind of move on. So we expect our SWAT operators to be the same. It's a model that we're trying to build.
Right.
Be a silent, cool professional who can handle your job without any need to be yelled at or talked to. Twice a year we take our physical fitness test, and if you don't pass that test, you'll be put on probation to where you have to take it again. And if you fail it for a second time, then you leave the team. The most common reason people step down from our team is either they move on to a federal agency, which is awesome, or they get to a point where they're like, you know what, I physically can't keep up over and over again. Mentally I'm there, but physically I'm not. And I've prepared myself for that day one time. It's going to be really hard. I know Lieutenant VanKley, we've had those discussions. I've had some surgeries and he's had some injuries, and there's going to come a day when we can't do it. And so until then, our goal is to take these young guys and teach them everything we know, and also teach them how to expand their thought process and learn from other teams and other people.
Yeah, and I do want to, you brought up something that we talked about before the show. You guys have had really a good success story, guys promoting their career. And it's not because they dislike the Sheriff's Department, because it's great. And Sheriff Reynolds, I got to tell you, is, boy, what a leader. I mean, as far as physical, he demands everyone be in physical shape. He demands the best that sets a high level. But one thing that I've known quite a few of you guys that have gotten promoted to the FBI, to U.S. Marshal Service, because of your dedication, physical abilities, and to be able to act under pressure. And those guys have traveled up very quickly in the U.S. Marshal and the FBI. Mm-hmm. We talked about a couple of them. One of them that usually got sent into situations where there was a bad guy, and the bad guy saw him, and he'd quickly hit the ground and put his own hands behind his back and say, "Please cuff me." And but that's the reputation these guys have had, and thankfully that you guys don't get hauled into a lot of situations in Porter County because of that. But so you do. Now, one thing I want to talk to you about is the benefit of the MAC Center you guys have had. And boy, I tell you, Task Force Tips, the McMillans have really blessed the District 1 area by creating this facility, which first of all started out as a first responder for firefighters, and then it grew into other first responders. So talk to us a bit about your use of the MAC facility and what benefit it brings to the Sheriff's Department.
We started using it before they had even built the tactical building next door here. We're fortunate. This is, we joke and say it's in our backyard, but it is. The Sheriff's Department's just a mile that way. It's in our backyard, and how fantastic it is to have such a great facility so close, and we don't extend overtime and travel budgets to come use it. We go online, we book it, and we show up, and they're beyond flexible and happy to have us
Now,
here.
do other counties have things like this, or
You
do a
ha-
lot of other counties have to come here and
You will see a
beg and
lot of
borrow?
other counties and cities come here, travel all the way from Elkhart, Illinois, Southern Indiana.
All right.
Yeah, you'll see, and when we walk out earlier and you take a look at what we're doing, we've got multiple buildings that we can utilize, change scenarios, change rooms. We also have the 360 simulator in there where we give you sim guns on the screen, and you get tased if you get shot. We work well with them. The MAC facility is bent over backwards to give law enforcement, first responders, fire departments as much resources as they can to make sure that we have the training we need. It's really on the department just to make sure that they get here and utilize it.
Yeah.
So we can't speak highly enough of what they've given us or allowed us to do here.
Yeah, it's a
Great.
great facility, and
Yeah.
Right.
and like I said at first, task force tips for those who are not familiar. They are a fire equipment manufacturer, and so they've always had the first responders in their heart. And when this opened up, and it just started blossoming. They have training sessions here, so this is great. So what are the things that when we for those people who are not familiar with your type of unit, what are you responsible for? What type of emergencies do you guys get called out on?
So we've adapted over the years. When SWAT first started in the 80s and 90s, they came out for pretty much everything. Because the idea of a ERT or SWAT team is to have more training and more resources available, meaning more weapons or less lethals or just better tactics. So our police officers in general have been better trained to handle way more scenarios today than they were 10 years ago. So now we really only come out as a last resort of most common, a suicidal subject. Somebody who wants to hurt themselves. They're not an immediate threat to anyone else at that time but themselves. And we're going to come out and try to wait them out or get them out as safely as possible.
Typically when they're barricaded, refusing to exit.
Correct.
It gets to a
Almost
point
like
where-
I was during the run.
Correct.
Suicidal.
You almost went up that tree.
So do
and
you have
thank
to go through all kinds of mental training to learn how to talk them down, or?
So we have a team. Our operators aren't going to be doing a lot of communicating with them, right? Our operators need to concentrate on their safety, the tactics, and how to maintain the situation. We have a team of 8 or 9 negotiators, and that makes up of Porter County Sheriff's Department and the Valparaiso Police Department.
Okay.
We have 3 or 4 operators from the Valparaiso Police Department on the ERT, and I want to say we have 3 negotiators from Valparaiso and then 5 or so from the Sheriff's Department. And all of them have been through negotiator school, where they've discussed de-escalation and how to speak with somebody. And I've heard them. I have the privilege of listening to them when I'm on the bus, drawing up plans and talking to my team leaders and figuring out what our plans are. I can hear them talk. There's a little microphone that comes in. So I get to hear the conversation they're having with the person on the other end. And I can't speak highly enough of them. They're all extremely calm. They understand people. They could probably talk you into giving them money if they're just very good at what they do. And because of them, we've had a very high success rate of having people, surrender or give up without having any issues. There's sometimes when they don't, and you can't blame the negotiator because they tried their hardest.
Sure.
They did everything they possibly could, and we go above and beyond trying to ensure the safest ending to the scenario as possible for everyone involved.
Right, because you don't want it to escalate to the
Yeah,
point where they hurt
exactly.
other
Right.
people
Correct.
too, and
So-
or themselves. I mean,
Although-
you don't want them to hurt themselves,
No.
but you
They
definitely
call-
don't want others to be involved.
Although they call you guys door kickers, that is a last resort. You talk the person down before you enter.
Yes, we don't serve that many search warrants anymore. We have, but it's very, very seldom. And before we do anything like that, we put a lot of man hours into figuring out, is this necessary? Why are we doing this? Is the risk worth it? Are there other options? When I say search warrants, I mean for narcotics or an arrest warrant type stuff.
High risk.
High risk
Okay.
situations. Are there other options? we don't want to kick doors in and go rushing in because there's just a whole lot of liability there, and
Yeah.
what's the risk and the reward, right? And we're the same way if we get called out for a hostage situation, or not hostage, suicidal subject. We got no reason to rush, right? You have a hostage situation or an active shooter, it's a complete different ball game. We're going to use different tactics there.
So what type of relationships do you have with other agencies in other counties or federal? Are there any? Do you guys get called out, like if there's a federal warrant to help out with the situation?
Since I've been on the team, we've assisted the FBI with an arrest warrant, a murder arrest warrant. I can't remember what year it was, because their team won't be used for everything, and it depends on the seriousness of the situation. We've assisted Portage Police Department SWAT team. They've assisted us. They're back and forth if we need something. You know, they have some resources we don't have, and vice versa. We've trained together with the Northwest Indiana Region team before a few times. The biggest problem or the hardest thing is to arrange these cross trainings because everyone has a budget, everyone has their training days. So it's really hard to do. And I think next month we're actually training with the Jasper County SWAT team down south and in St. Joe County, if I'm not mistaken. So we try to reach out for multiple reasons. One, if anything serious ever happens, we're probably going to be working together. So we kind of want to know how each other work.
Right.
Two, we want to learn from them because there's more than one way to skin a cat.
And they want to learn from you. I mean, I would think anytime you have a chance to get together and express
Right.
different things
Right.
that you
Different
go
viewpoints,
through,
different tactics,
yes,
all that kind of
exactly.
stuff. And everybody's picking up new ways of doing things, and new technologies coming
Well,
out.
yeah, I was going
and,
to say technology.
and some people are trying it before others, and you can kind of get a glimpse of what's out there, and is that something that we want to try to adopt? So let's check it out, see what they're doing. And our relationship with federal agencies is great as well. We go up to the U.S. Marshal facility building in Chicago whenever we need to, or in there, as long as they can fit us in. It's great. Another great resource. And
Nice collaboration.
yeah, and it seems
It's
like
great.
from at this level, everybody's willing to work together to kind of spread the wealth and make sure everybody's trained well and on the same page.
Yeah, and it's so important, situational training, putting your guys through situations so when it happens, they're prepared.
Yes.
And everyone's safe on both sides.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. Listen, I want to tell you guys that we are your biggest fans.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement has always been number one with us. It's you guys keep us safe.
Law enforcement and
literally.
military, boy, I'm telling you.
And it's unfortunate in these times, and I say it's kind of unfortunate that, excuse the analogy, but you guys have a target on your back sometimes, and that shouldn't happen ever, because you guys are here to protect us, and by golly, you do a great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So with that, we'll wrap things up here, but we've got some other things to share with you. We did have some video of the run. Yeah.
Did we get video of you falling? Or
No. Actually, the camera cut out.
That's good.
How
Oh,
about
darn.
that?
Yeah, if not, it'll be edited out.
That's what I was going to say.
So, thank you again.
No,
Thank you.
thanks for having
Appreciate it.
us.
Thank you.
And,
Thank
you.
and with that, we'll say goodbye for now.
Bye, everybody.
They were downstairs here. So there are stairs going between the two, but sometimes we do different levels of training. And sometimes we'll open up the whole building, sometimes we'll just focus on the down or up or whatever the case is. But while we were over there, they did basics throughout the first floor. Now we're doing team of 4. scenario based. It's the
highlight reel.
We've got multiple different hallways and rooms, and we've got one guy basically hiding in there, and they need to go slow and ultimately figure out where he's at, safely take him to the custody, minimizing risk. And rescue.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by
Ram Financial and Wealth Management. You can never start too early. Building plans for your financial future, that is. Those who plan ahead and save early have more time to build assets for retirement, support a family, save for higher education, a new home, or other personal goals. You can contact Sean Graham, your financial advisor, at 219-595-0371. That's Sean Graham at 219-595-0371. Securities and investment products and services offered through Wendell and Reed Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Graham Financial and Wealth Management is a separate entity from WRI. Graham Financial and Wealth Management.